Zoe is talking about the deadline, saying that if the Patriots win this weekend and they win the next couple of weekends, next two, so it'll be Cleveland and Atlanta, and they're 7-2. That'll be the thing that proves to the team that they need to consider rentals at the deadline.
Yeah, I would just say that hasn't been their approach.
Obviously,
as far as what they're calling around on now.
So,
because they have not got a big name at the deadline.
Well, but I don't think. But I would say no. I'm saying like that. I don't think it's their plan to approach it that way. I think like from what I understand. So
they want to build and have a guy with term.
And I think, the best way to put this is there's a short-term bucket and a long-term bucket. The short-term bucket, I think, would be for guys that you're going to get for next to nothing, right? Yeah. So that's like where we brought up Zamir White's name. I think we talked about that last week, right? Beadle, who played for Josh McDaniels in Vegas. Could you get a Jalen Wright out of Miami? Ooh. It's somebody who you'd be talking about, like you're not giving up very much to get him, and it is a pure rental. Then I think you get the long-term bucket. And to me, the long-term bucket, and I brought up Olave's name, Addison's name, it's those sorts of guys like where I think those guys aren't moving, but because they're getting close to the end of their rookie deals, you look at them and say, like, these guys could be long-term answers for us at the position, similar to, this would be a higher-end version of it, but when the Rams traded for Jalen Ramsey in 2019, right, they traded for him. It was for now, but it was also for the next 5 years. I would characterize like a win-now move as trading for Trey Hendrickson, who I don't think is going to be available anyway because the Bengals are starting to play better. I don't think the Patriots are going to do something like that, where it's just like, yep, we're going to give up a second-round pick to go get a player where we have no idea if he's going to be back next year, and he's older, and whatever, we're throwing caution to the wind. We're going for it right now. I don't think they're in a spot. By the way, I would be against them doing that too because I don't think their roster is there yet. Because we talked about Washington, right? Was Washington a true championship threat last year? Even though they got as far as they got.
No.
They probably would have gotten run over by the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
They got taken seriously.
And that wouldn't have been worth it?
They got taken – no, but his point, like they got taken seriously when they beat Detroit, that game we're talking about, divisional round.
Yeah.
They got to the NFC title game.
Which they were capable of.
They made, but
no one gave them a chance to win that.
The move they made at the trade deadline is what I'm talking about, though, because they made the move. They traded for Marshawn Lattimore, who was under contract at that point for another year, and they could look at him and say, now it hasn't worked out, but they could look at that and say, we need a number one corner, and this guy could be our number one corner long term. It's not for just right now. Like I said, like a Trey Hendrickson, you aren't making that move for the next 4 years. You're making that move for right now. And that's the move I wouldn't make if I were them. Because I do think they've got enough holes in their roster where those draft picks are valuable. And I know you can like look at it and match it up and say like, okay, like, well, this second round pick was this guy, but that's another piece of capital. That's another piece of margin for error where you've got a certain amount of picks and you're trying to come away from a draft with 3 or 4 starters, right? Which is a really good draft. It's much easier to do that if you've got 9 picks versus 6 picks. You know what I'm saying?
Kicks at the can, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean,
but that's how you build a team.
Yeah, I just don't have a lot of faith yet in this team's ability to draft. I don't. And I don't think that giving them more chances is going to make them better at doing it.
But that's how you build it, though. Like, I don't think...
I get it. I just think that the higher picks are valuable. Like,
yeah.
You're going to tell me that if you can move a fourth-round pick for a rental, I'm going to tell you to do it if it's going to result in another playoff win. If it results in one more playoff win because you shore up a position, I do that.
Okay, so here's the thing, all right, is I look at their roster right now. Is Robert Spillane a long-term answer at linebacker?
No.
Is Carlton Davis a long-term answer at
definitely
corner?
not.
No. Right? So, like, they still have a bunch of these positions. Is Morgan Moses a long-term answer at right tackle?
Not at all.
So, Garrett Bradbury at center?
Nope.
Okay, so they've done a good job, and that's what Washington did last year, and that's where Washington's getting in trouble now, is they sort of doubled down on that.
What if their quarterback was healthy, though?
If their quarterback was healthy, they'd be in a different spot. But it's not a way.
Okay, so why is that knock on their team building?
It's not. But I think the other thing you've seen with Washington, where Washington's defense looks really bad right now, is that they had invested in older players like Bobby Wagner and Dorrance Armstrong, and now all of a sudden that age is starting to show. And I just think that that's, to me, like that's where you're looking at, you're going to have to replace those guys. So that capital, like it looks like you've got this position or that position sewn up now. You're going to need those draft picks to replace those guys as they get older. So I really like the way that they built the team for this year, where they took the Washington approach. They brought in guys who are known commodities because people on their coaching staff had worked with them. But you are eventually going to have to replace those guys. And the sugar high of a 5-2 start shouldn't cloud your vision. Okay, it shouldn't cloud your vision for how do we build this thing for the next 4 or 5 years. And you do it through the draft. And there's no way around that. That's really just the crux of it. Like the way the Rams got really good, they got attention for all of that, for the big ticket moves they made for Stafford.
They got the right quarterback too.
They got the right quarterback, but they hit on a ton of 3rd and 4th and 5th round picks. Yep. There's no way around doing that. You have to do that.
What was Puka?
And whether you say like you trust them or not, it's fine, but like it doesn't change that part of the equation. You're going to have to start hitting on draft picks one way or the other.
No, I understand that. I would just say that I think that going, and winning another game and somewhere along the line being a better team and winning and what happened to Washington last year is really valuable to them, I think. I mean, to be able to play in an NFC title game last year, they are viewed entirely differently now than what they were before.
Right.
And this team kind of needs that same thing. They need to be viewed differently.
Yeah, I just think you need to be honest with yourself. All right? Do you think you can win a Super Bowl this year?
You asked me 3 weeks ago, I say no.
I still say no. I just
like he says, why not take the shot?
I mean,
like you bring up the Washington.
If you want me to put odds on it, it's 1 in 100.
It's much better odds than it was, right? Much better odds than it was, no question. If you think that you have a chance to win a Super Bowl, you go for it. I just don't think you're in that category now. I think it would take so many things breaking in so many different ways.
Let me phrase it a different way. Do you think the Patriots on their best day are capable of beating Kansas City in the playoffs?
No.
I think they are.
I just don't think they are.
On their best day.
If Kansas City has everyone, you're saying like now we're saying Mahomes is healthy, Simmons is in there, Rice is in there.
Yep.
No.
Yeah.
No. Kansas City's roster is way better than yours.
I don't doubt that one bit.
And their quarterback is better than yours. And that's an advantage. And that's an advantage that you've had the last 3 or 4 weeks. That advantage goes away when you're playing Kansas City.
I'll take my chance.
Take my chance, right? So.
I would have thought Josh Allen was a better quarterback, right?
Buffalo was really banged up. Buffalo was really banged up, and if we're doing that thing where everything is good, and this is a playoff setting, so there's no like you're all in each playoff game. So I just think I think they're in a really great track. I think they're on a track to build a sustained winner. I think they're on a track to be very aggressive this offseason and start to surround your young quarterback with viable pieces. But you also have to have that other part of the equation where there's young talent on your roster. There's no way to win without it. Like if you look at the Chiefs, right? How many guys on rookie contracts, those last 2 Super Bowls, 22 and 23, I can go right down the list. Everybody focuses on Kelsey and Jones and Mahomes, and those guys are so important, right? Creed Humphrey's on a rookie contract. Trent McDuffie's on a rookie contract. Nick Bolton's on a rookie contract. George Karlaftis is on a rookie contract. There are so many good young players that's how they got there. That was such an important piece to it. You don't get there without that. So I still think you have to maintain that. You still need the draft picks to take care of that piece of your roster. And you can get aggressive in the offseason when it's not going to cost you draft picks to do it.